There is a way of seeing life that does not arrive through effort or achievement, and yet, when it becomes clear, it quietly transforms the way we relate to everything around us. We move through our days with the sense that we are individuals placed within a world that exists outside us. We speak of nature as something we observe, something we step into, something that surrounds us. This way of seeing feels natural, and because it feels natural, it is rarely questioned. Yet there are moments when this certainty begins to soften. Perhaps while standing near a tree, or watching the movement of water, or simply becoming aware of one's own breath, there arises a subtle shift. The boundary that once felt so definite begins to lose its clarity. The life that moves through this body is not separate from the life that moves through the trees, the rivers, the soil, and the vast space in which all of this unfolds. There are countless forms, each with its own appearance, its own structure, its own duration, yet the movement of life within them remains one continuous flow. When we hold a leaf in our hand, we see something small, something temporary, something that will soon wither and fall. It appears complete in itself as though it exists independently, yet its entire existence depends on the tree. It emerges from it, receives nourishment through it, and remains connected to it throughout its life. The leaf does not stand apart from the tree. Its identity cannot be understood in isolation. The life of the tree expresses itself through the leaf, and the presence of the leaf reveals the life of the tree. If the leaf could observe itself, it might imagine that it is separate, that it is small in comparison to the vast structure from which it grows. It might see the tree as something greater, something beyond itself. Yet this distinction belongs only to appearance. In truth, the leaf and the tree belong to the same movement. In the same way, what we call ourselves appears as an individual, defined by a body, a name, and a personal history. We experience ourselves as separate, as contained within the boundaries of our own form. Yet the life that sustains this form does not belong to it alone. Every breath draws from the atmosphere. Every element within the body belongs to the earth. Every process that keeps us alive participates in a vast and interconnected system that extends far beyond what we can perceive. When this is seen clearly, even for a moment, something begins to shift. The sense of being separate loosens, and in its place there arises a quiet recognition of belonging. This recognition begins to change the way we relate to our experiences. When there is pain in the body or difficulty in life, it is often held as something personal, something that must be carried alone. The mind gathers around it, builds a narrative, strengthens the sense of isolation. Yet, when seen from a deeper perspective, the experience belongs to the same field of life that expresses itself through everything. The body responds, the mind reacts, sensations arise and pass, and the movement continues. It does not belong to an isolated self. There are moments when we can observe this directly. A feeling arises, lingers for a while, and then fades. Another takes its place. Thoughts follow a similar rhythm, appearing, unfolding, and dissolving. Even the most intense experiences do not remain unchanged. They move, they transform, and they pass through us. When this movement is seen without resistance, something within us relaxes. The need to hold, to define, to fix every experience begins to loosen. There is space for life to move as it is. Even within the body, life unfolds through constant change. Cells complete their cycle, new ones take their place, and this process continues without interruption. There is a quiet intelligence in this movement, a rhythm that sustains life without demanding our awareness. What appears as an ending at one level becomes a continuation at another. When this is understood, the impulse to hold tightly to every experience begins to soften. There is a natural easing, a space in which life can move without resistance. From this clarity arises what is often called surrender. Surrender does not imply withdrawal. It does not require passivity, and it does not mean abandoning responsibility. It is a simple recognition that life is not being carried by an isolated individual, and that the attempt to control everything from that position creates strain. There are subtle ways in which this strain appears in daily life. It can be felt in the constant need to secure outcomes, in the tension that arises when things do not unfold as expected, and in the quiet fatigue that comes from trying to hold everything together. When this is seen clearly, the effort begins to ease. When this recognition becomes steady, action continues as before. Decisions are made, responsibilities are fulfilled, and life moves forward. Yet there is a lightness in the way all of this is held. This lightness brings a different quality to our relationships. As the sense of separation fades, the distance between oneself and another begins to dissolve. The well-being of another is no longer perceived as something external. The same life moves through both, expressing itself in different forms. In this understanding, listening becomes deeper. One begins to hear beyond words, to sense what is felt but not expressed. There is a natural sensitivity that emerges, not as effort, but as a quiet responsiveness to life as it unfolds in another. Care arises naturally from this understanding. Kindness does not need to be cultivated as an ideal. Attention becomes more present, more direct, more sincere. These expressions take form in simple actions, often unnoticed, yet they carry a depth that does not require recognition. There is no need for grand gestures, because even the smallest act becomes meaningful when it arises from clarity. At the same time, there is an awareness that this form through which we experience life will not remain. The body will change, time will move, and the conditions that sustain this moment will shift. This awareness does not create fear when it is seen clearly. It brings depth. It reveals the value of what is present now. There are moments in life that pass quietly, almost unnoticed, and yet they hold a completeness that does not depend on memory or recognition. A simple conversation, a shared silence, the presence of another being. These moments do not ask to be held, yet they leave a subtle imprint. When we become attentive to such moments, life begins to reveal a different texture. It is no longer measured only through achievement or accumulation, but through the quality of presence we bring into each experience. When we understand that our time is limited, the way we live begins to reflect that understanding. Attention becomes more refined. What once seemed urgent begins to lose its hold. What truly matters becomes more evident. There is a natural movement towards living with care, towards acting with awareness, towards contributing in whatever way is possible to the well-being of life around us. There is no need to search for something extraordinary because the opportunity to live meaningfully exists within each moment. When the sense of separation dissolves, life is no longer experienced as a struggle against circumstances. It becomes a participation. We are not standing apart from existence. We are moving within it, expressing it, and returning within it. This understanding does not remove challenges. Difficulties continue to arise, as they always have. Yet the way we meet them changes, and within that change, there is a quiet strength. A strength that does not depend on control. A strength that arises from seeing clearly. And perhaps this is what it means to live fully. To recognize that the life within us is the same life that moves through everything, and to allow that recognition to shape the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act. When this becomes clear, even briefly, there is a sense of peace that does not depend on circumstances. It does not come from achieving something, and it does not fade when conditions change. It arises from seeing what has always been true. And in that seeing, life is no longer divided into parts. It is experienced as a single, continuous movement in which we are completely and inseparably involved.